Welcome to Focus Today. We have a very special guest today, and perhaps you've caught him on Fox News or read him in the Wall Street Journal. We have Dr. Jim Henderson with us, and he has authored a book that is fascinating, and a couple of books actually. And he has a unique relationship with a gentleman by the name of Matt Casper. And we're going to talk to him about his relationship with Matt, and of course, his books, which are really interesting. The first one was Jim and Casper Go to Church, and which is a fascinating book in itself. And then his latest book, Saving Casper. And we're going to talk to him because Casper is an atheist, and how Jim and Matt got together. So, Jim, I'm really sorry we couldn't get the Skype to work. How are you today, my friend?
I'm great, and I appreciate the opportunity. I apologize for not being more technically adept to pull it off. But
hey,
anyway,
not a problem.
Hey, when it's free, you get what you pay for, right? I mean, so
yeah.
What can we complain about?
You know, when it works, it's great. When it doesn't, all of a sudden our life is upside down. But
exactly.
Again, thank you for your time. Fascinating work that you do, and thank you for what you do. So tell us about you and Matt. How'd you guys connect?
I became interested. I pastored for 25 years, and during that time, of course, became interested in evangelism, which was clearly a dilemma not only for Christians but for non-Christians. So I started researching different ways of. Basically, I decided to go to the customers and ask them what they thought about our attempts to convert them, and just take a direct approach. And I had a number of ways that I talk about in the first book, Jim and Casper Go to Church. And so I eventually heard about an atheist that was selling a soul on eBay. This would have been about 5 years ago, I think. And so I got involved in the bidding and won, and then that's what led to the article in the Wall Street Journal. And then I was asked by George Barnett to write another book with an atheist where I go to church with them. So I met Matt Casper through a mutual friend in San Diego who knew of my work, and I said, I'm looking for an atheist who wants to write a book with me, about going to church. And so they got in touch, and I interviewed Matt. I said, "You a real atheist?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Do you believe in Jesus?" He said, "I don't even believe he exists." I said, "Perfect. Let's go write a book."
That's fascinating. How would you describe your relationship today with him?
We're very close friends. We live in different cities, so we don't work together all the time. But we've, over the last 5 years, have had occasion to work on websites and travel and speak. And I tell people that if you really want to learn about somebody, either spend money or travel with them, and you quickly learn about people's character, and how they operate under pressure. So fortunately, we've grown closer and. Gone through life changes together. He's been through, his mother passed away, and different things that happen in life. And so the book, I decided I wanted to write about our relationship. So we kind of wrote about our project the first time, the vehicle that we used to sort of get some visibility, and the thing that was interesting that I thought Christians would be interested in. But then I wanted to write about a relationship because I'm interested in helping Christians understand what happens when you have a relationship with somebody that you have differences with, beliefs, and they don't change in the right amount of time. What are your options then? So that's what the book's about. So it's functionally about my failure to convert Casper, and what do we do as an alternative then? And it's used to help Christians understand how God wants us to operate inside of that kind of tension.
Well, I commend you for this. Tell me, are there some general misconceptions that Christians may have about atheists, and therefore we don't know what to do when we meet one?
Yeah, and one thing is that the fact that we're talking about atheists is unique because, 20 years ago, it wouldn't have been even a subject of any visibility. Because principally, Madeleine Murray O'Hair was their spokesperson, and even atheists didn't like her that much, And so, then her son got saved, I think, at one point. So anyway. Yeah. So there's definitely an upswing in interest and curiosity in atheism, and it's probably more reflection in I don't mean this disparagingly, but in the church's, ability to influence young people, I think it's very important that we look at the trends, because many of these people, I'm thinking like upwards of 80%, were raised in church.
Right.
And have had it, and we had a shot at them. And so you can make all the excuses you want. But so some of the reason they pick on Christians is because we're the biggest thing in the pond. We're pretty much all they know about. And so I think misconceptions are that they're hedonistic, immoral. They don't have character. It's not possible. They don't have meaning in life. All of those things are. I mean, I'm certain it's true for some atheists, but it's not. To generalize. In other words, if you have a friend who says they're an atheist and you go, "Oh my God, the person's a Satan worshiper now," or something,
right.
You immediately, get off on the wrong foot, because it's like, so it's like a person coming to you and saying you're a Christian, therefore you must be bigoted, hypocritical, and mean.
Yeah, right.
And so we have a perception in the marketplace as well. So I think it's best to go in with a clean slate and go, this is a person who's trying to make meaning out of life. How can I connect with them?
Did Casper become an atheist? I mean, what were you able to figure out how this belief system came about with him?
Well, it's a great question, because we generally think there's like an epiphany that people have, like they get really mad at God one day and they say, "I'm an atheist now,"
Yeah.
So typically what happens is it's not unlike, I don't know if most Christians recognize this, but most Christians become Christians slowly, not fast. That means if you interview people, which I've done a lot of, you find out it took years and months with several relapses before they kind of locked on to Jesus and like, "Oh, I really mean it." Mm-hmm. And that's how people even become atheists. Oftentimes it's quite slow. It just dawns on them. And it happens a lot when they're young, and they're just trying to make meaning out of, things that are confusing, like why do bad things happen to good people? And either there's nobody to talk to them, or oftentimes they get the argument immediately, and when you go in and you try and take apart a person's attempt to make meaning out of something that we all call confusing, and you just tell them not to think that way, that's not a great argument. Especially many atheists are quite bright, and they're intellectual, and so that's their attraction to science and the rational side and all that. Then there's a whole group of atheists that are more humanist. They really just think, I don't really care, why don't we just treat each other more respectfully?
Well, what's so interesting about this, Jim, is that you, when you guys decided to do this, you came together, so there's this presupposition already on the table. You believe in a God and he doesn't. So how did you start the dialogue, or which way did you make this thing go?
Well, I hired him. I said, I need you to do me a favor. I need a partner, because I'm trying to get through to Christians and help them learn how to be normal. I'm trying to help them learn. So would you please be my partner in this and tell me, I want to know without any holds barred exactly what you're seeing and what you think about what we're both looking at, the same set of circumstances. So it's a partnership. I never tried to convert him. I mean, when I say that, I mean, I'm very interested in people convert following Jesus.
Right.
But so I'm not what's the word? Neutral about that.
So what were you looking for?
I was looking for what Jesus talked about in Luke 16 when he talked about the shrewd manager, somebody that would help me take a look at the world from a pragmatic view, without rose-colored glasses and without people telling me what not to see. And so I wanted to see things, and I want to write about that so that Christians, so we know exactly what we're dealing with. Because if we really mean we're on the most important mission in the world, why would we not want more information? Why would we not go to the people that are perceived as our harshest critics and say, tell me exactly what you're seeing? Because if I can take that, I can take anything, right? I can take anything. I can work my way back down the food chain if people are just sort of like not even thinking about it. I mean, the biggest challenge to faith is indifference.
Yeah, right.
It's not difference. It's indifference.
Right.
And believe me, there's many deconverted Christians who are indifferent now to the gospel and to Jesus because we bored them to death.
Boy, that truth hurts.
Sorry for talking like
that's spot on. Well, you know, so often when we meet people that don't believe the way we do, we miss an opportunity to emotionally connect. We want to intellectually connect, and that always ricochets. Are you looking, or have you looked for a way to emotionally connect with Casper?
Oh yeah, I love Casper. He's my friend. I mean, we did an interview, and the woman asked a surprising question. You know, what's the most important thing what's the most surprising thing that happened to you? And I said, I didn't expect to love this person. I didn't expect him to become my friend. I care about him, and so more than anything, he's my friend. And
does he believe that? Does he believe that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I wish we could work it out. Yeah, and he'd be great to have on the show. Besides me, honestly, just independent of me, he's articulate and funny. And when we're actually we're trying to do a series of shows now called Help Me Save Casper, where we're primarily, I'm thinking about getting on college campuses, where I essentially say, look, I tried to save him, I failed, why don't you take a shot at it? And we do this in a live audience. And so people simply give us their questions and their pitch, and Casper, takes them on. And the difference is we don't argue with people. We listen, we dialogue with people. We have very funny and interesting public conversations.
Wow.
So he's very good at that.
I wish I had you for about 2 hours. Let me just ask you one other quick question. We got to go, but you said his mother passed away.
Yeah.
What was that somewhat of a door opener for you to talk to him about eternity?
Well, great question. We covered that in the book. There's a chapter called When Bad Things Happen to Damn People. And so that was a chapter he writes about his mother passing. And a couple things happened. His mother actually converted to Catholicism later in life and ended up dying in the home of some people in her parish that took care of her. So Casper, when he went to see his mom, was surrounded by a bunch of Catholic Christians who were very kind to him, and he was very impressed by that.
Wow.
The second thing is that he would probably say he anticipated that I would say something to him about this, and I chose to say nothing because he's my friend.
Yeah.
And then he writes about that. He writes about why Christians go after low-hanging fruit. But see, I practice something Sun Tzu says: when you're near, make them think you're far away.
Yeah.
And so, that's how I engaged with him, because he was my friend. He wasn't a target, so I wasn't going to leverage him at that point.
Well, Jim, thank you. I'm going to have you back, and maybe if we can, get Matt on too. It's called Saving Casper, a Christian and an Atheist Talk About Caring versus Scaring Evangelism. There's a picture of it on the screen for those watching on the Dove TV. Encourage you to check it out at the bookstores. Thanks, Jim. Blessings to you. Merry Christmas, my friend.
You too. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll be right back.